Hey everyone, welcome back to Pearls of Wisdom. I realize the last couple of days we've been talking about some pretty heavy duty topics, but I think it's important to bring awareness to it so that we can change what, what's happening. I mean, things are starting to really deteriorate, and it's up to us as the people to decide what way we want our society to go. And I guess, when I said crimes do pay, just what I had mentioned in a couple of my earlier videos is that, for instance, the families that are getting the hush money, to usually what I'm referencing in that is that usually it's a perpetrator that has committed a crime and has committed several of them, or is a heavy duty drug addict, and they're just not an all around good person. Like George Floyd. I mean, he was a career criminal. But I've seen this in a number of instances where even people were, committing a crime, and they didn't heed the warnings of the police officer, and the altercation broke out and they ended up getting shot. Then the families come forward and start to riot and, you need to pay for his life. Well, the person, yeah, I'm not sure how you put a value on life. It's like, why should you get paid $1 million? One, you really didn't have any family connection with this person beforehand, but now that they're a cash cow, they're the most wonderful person that walked this earth. Or, two, this person has a long criminal history and hasn't held a job because they're busy stealing from people and committing armed robberies. I don't see how that's $1 million life. And then all of a sudden the families go out rioting and tearing up the streets and disturbing businesses where, I mean, some of them, I mean, even the George Floyd, it's like all those businesses got burnt down and property destroyed, and those people were innocent. They had nothing to do with the altercation or the victim, the police, nothing. And so, they're the ones who paid the price, but yet the families get rewarded big money for a person that's actually committed the crime. So I don't know how that's fair. And if you think that that's not hitting home, it is. Because all of those businesses now, they've lost, many of them can't afford to, start again, whether they didn't have insurance or it doesn't cover it or whatever. So now they've lost their livelihood because of a criminal, and or somebody just, acting out thinking that, that's what they're supposed to do, is support this criminal life being taken because he got shot because he was misbehaving and wasn't following instruction. And then that flows down to people that are trying to purchase products, because now those products aren't available, or if they do stay in business, the prices are so darn high that you can't afford it, because it's a trickle down effect. I mean, California, look at all those people going in there and stealing, from that Lululemon, and I mean, just myriads of places, and all these people going in and storming and stealing everything. And there's no consequence. I mean, and then you look at the tapes, and yes, and this seems to be the whole issue. I mean, it seems to be a race-based issue. And I don't think that that's really fair, because, and that's why these families get paid off, is because the police department and the city government and whatever, they don't want the attention of it being a race-based thing. And so then they pay the hush money. Well, in the cases where all these people are stealing from these stores, it's like, look at the video footage. It's like you can pretty much tell who's in there, and it definitely is a higher proportion of one race than the other. So I don't get why we shouldn't hold them accountable. You know, they're like, oh, it's a high disproportionate number of this particular section that's going to jail. Well, that's because they're the ones committing the crime. So if you commit the crime, you do the time. That, but the thing of that is that the prison systems are so full that they're letting criminals off. And they, you know, because they don't have the money or they don't have the staff to, you know, run the prisons. And so there's, I think I mentioned it, there's at least, you know, 90% where they get plea deals and walk away. But then we're seeing in New York, and granted, they're more the illegals, but probably not all of them. But now everybody's on the bandwagon. Not everybody, but you know, people are on the bandwagon to commit crimes because they know nothing's going to happen. I mean, the police have absolutely no authority, so they're getting their butts kicked. Well, they can't even do their job. So I think hopefully this administration coming in will give the power back to the police where it belongs, because you know, if there's something happening to me, I want to be able to call them and have somebody come to my aid. But it's just, it's crazy what's happening. And I mean, yeah, there's, like I said, I don't know that there's a fairness or equity of the sentences, because I don't believe it's true, because every state has its nuances, and some make examples of something so stupid, but yet they let, you know, chomos off with, you know, maybe a year, you know, 2 or 3 or probation or something stupid. There was this one example, I guess I won't name the state, but where this young kid did something stupid. He was a teen, very bright individual, good grades, all of that. One night he just did something stupid, stole a 6-pack of beer. Well, that particular judge in that state threw the book at him and sentenced him to, you know, a number of years in prison. And so then he lost all his chances. I think he was going to go to law school and some other things, but so his life was ruined over some shenanigan that he pulled as a teen. But then there was, in the same state, there was this child rapist, molester, murderer down there, and they had him in custody and then let him go. And then he ended up, you know, there was a big, we'll say manhunt, but it was for a little girl. And he ended up killing her and stuffed her under his porch. And it's just like, and he had done it like a number of times, but he was getting caught, put in jail, and then released, go out and do something else because they weren't, you know, connecting him to the crimes. So how many lives did it take before, you know, he finally got caught and put in prison? I know I would be pretty angry if it was my kid, you know, or somebody in my family or somebody I knew, that it cost them their life because people are turning a blind eye to it like it doesn't exist, and taking the power away from, you know, law enforcement. But I don't know, you know, that it was really fair. I mean, I've mentioned Hunter a couple of times, and yeah, and I think that's why they think that it's not fair for the lower income families to be put in jail while, you know, these certain elite people get off. Yeah, I agree with that. That shouldn't happen either, but you know, but I don't think that we should be erecting monuments and having, you know, days dedicated to honor criminals and people that just aren't high, I don't want to say high up in society, but a good, decent human being, you know? So I don't know. I mean, I mentioned, you know, the vigilante, and it's like, why can't we ordain people, you know, take some of the military, the retired military people, or, you know, some of the other people that are wanting to make a difference, and ordain them to be a vigilante, but give them the information and go after the right person and eradicate the evil from this earth. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't know why we have to spend, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars to put these people in jail. They don't deserve that when you look at some of the activities that they perpetrated against, you know, innocent victims, and especially children. And like I said it on my previous video, that I think it needs to, you know, I mean, there's justice that's served within the prison walls, and rightfully so. And as long as you know that your information is accurate and you're targeting the correct person. Yeah. And I came across, I don't know that I should mention the name, but I mean, there's another channel that follows it closely, but there's this other individual that he had decided to do, you know, a little bit of persuasion on some people that were committing crimes against children. He didn't kill anybody, but he persuaded them that that was not the appropriate thing to do. Well, then in this particular state, they give more rights to the chomos than they do somebody that is trying to protect them. So this individual, I think it was 16 years. He's doing some time, but then it was chopped up and he got some taken off. And so, but I thought the original sentence was 16 years. And so now they just, you know, they revoked it and threw him back in now. But then the person that, you know, I mean, they were going after, you know, little kids and violating them in such a disgusting, deplorable way. And the one guy, he was playing some video game and was babysitting an infant. Well, he got pissed that he lost the video game, so he took the infant and threw it against the wall and ended up killing it. And so if you're thinking that this is okay, and that these people are okay, and that they can be rehabbed, and we should love everybody and forgive everybody, no. I think there needs to be some lines of definition drawn in the sand, because I think our world is, I mean, it's deteriorating because I don't know, we're not paying attention, and we're letting too many things go, and they're morbid, and they're morphing, you know, beyond the good intent that we have. So I guess that's where I'm at, is it's just, I don't think it's a fight against any one race, or you know, that it's a disparaging thing, or that, oh, because they're poor and we should give them, you know, a pass. Well, the pass is the right for them to go out and do it again. And so where does that end? So that's where I'm at. I just want to put that out there so people start questioning everything right now, because we have an opportunity. There's going to be some change, and I'm excited about it, because I think these politicians need to be held accountable, and I think our world needs to be cleaned up. And, you know, I mean, because there's some crossover, and hopefully they're going to be releasing, you know, the Diddy files, but I'm pretty sure all the politicians will be redacted. But I mean, I think I started to say this on my previous video, but there's, more people coming out, not just with the Diddy Files, but there was another gal that she was a Belgian little girl, and she got taken in, to child slavery and sex trafficking, and Rockefeller was involved and all his political buddies. So that I just saw. So now, she's coming out and saying that. So if you think that's not happening, I think we need to clean up some of that grotesque behavior that is in power. So I don't know. I just asked, just give these things some consideration, and it is closer to home than what you think. So it's up to, us, I guess, to say enough is enough, right? So I guess that's all there is for that for today. So hopefully this is just too important. I'm sorry that I, hammered on it, but the stuff is starting to come out now. So I'm really happy about that. We think things are really dark right now, but it's the light that's being shined on the darkness, which is our avenue to change. So that's pretty exciting. So until next time, you have a superb rest of your day, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Take care.